Hi everyone, and welcome to Week 2 of 39B. This week we're going to start reading the novel The Sign of Four, and we're going to start working on wikis, which are going to be group projects where you'll work with each other to provide information for the rest of the class about the historical and cultural context for Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes. Sometime this week, scroll down on the homepage and read about the 4 stages of genre development: primitive, classical, parodic, and revisionist. The first stage of genre development that we're going to focus on in this class is classical. That's the time when the genre is at its peak of popularity and all of the conventions that we come to expect of the genre are created. The classical phase of the genre for the detective story is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and the Sherlock Holmes stories. Now let's check out the calendar and look at the work for this week. For Wednesday, you have some reading to do. In fact, this week will be a heavy week as far as reading because we need to lay the foundations for all of the things that we're going to be doing with the reading for the rest of the term. First, read the first chapter of a book by Maria Konnikova, a cognitive psychologist and journalist, called Mastermind: How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes. You'll find the PDF for this chapter in class files. Next, start reading The Sign of Four. Read the first 6 chapters. This is about halfway through the book. It's a short novel, actually a novella, about 250 pages long, although we don't have page numbers in the Kindle version. Incidentally, when you quote from a Kindle version of a text, you use the location number instead of the page number in your in-text citation. Next, visit the TV Tropes page on Sherlock Holmes. TV Tropes is a wiki. It's a specific kind of wiki that focuses on television, films, books, anime, and video games. And it's a wiki that collects conventions or tropes for these different types of media and their genres. So this entry here on Sherlock Holmes will give you some very important information about Sherlock Holmes, the franchise overall, and some of the conventions that we've come to understand. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to also visit Wikipedia and read the entries on detective fiction and Sherlock Holmes. The last reading assignment is to read Chapter 1 of The Anteater's Guide to Writing and Rhetoric. This is the only chapter we're going to read out of this textbook, but it sets up the rhetorical situation. That's the important information for you to get from that chapter, so pay special attention to that part. The last assignment for you to finish by Wednesday is to start work on your wiki project. You will receive an email on Monday with the names of the people in your group and the topic you've been assigned to work on in the wiki. Let's go to Class Wikis, and I'll tell you how to use this tool. When you get to the wiki, you'll notice the title, Victorian England. We're going to do more than one wiki in this class. Each wiki we do will be some sort of information that you will need in order to write an excellent essay. In this case, we're going to be looking at the context, the historical and cultural situation around Sir Arthur Conan Doyle when he was writing the Sherlock Holmes stories. There are 13 different topics: empire and military, government and monarchy, lifestyles of the lower class, the upper class, the middle class, science, medicine, crime and criminals, the police in Scotland Yard, gender roles, education, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and Victorian literature. You were put into a group that was assigned one of these topics. The first thing that you should do is carefully read the information on the home page. Especially important is this message right here: do not open 2 pages of the wiki at the same time in the same browser. This always ends up with one page or the other being deleted. What I mean by that is, don't open the police in Scotland Yard and then in another tab open the lifestyles of the upper class. What happens when you do this, when you open 2 pages in the same wiki, is the last page that was opened is the page that gets updated, no matter which page you actually opened first. And very often when this happens, you end up writing over someone else's page without meaning to. So, just be careful. Do not open more than one wiki page at the same time. Even though everyone's going to be very careful, Sometimes accidents still happen. If your group's wiki page accidentally gets deleted, email your instructor. We should be able to help. Okay, now let's talk about how to use the wiki tool. Here we are inside one of the pages, Lifestyles of the Upper Class. Notice that there are instructions for each particular group on your home page of your topic, so read those instructions as well. One of the first things you'll do as a group is decide who's going to cover which specific aspects of your topic. One of the things that you might want to do is create subpages for the different aspects that you're going to cover. The way to do that is to go to the Options menu, and now that we're in the wiki, when you open the Options menu, you'll have a whole new set of options over here that are related to just the wiki. To create a new subpage, click on Create a New Page. Give your new page a title. The title you give it is going to appear at the top of the page. The brief title is the link that's going to appear within the wiki itself. Then save the page. Now, scroll down and you'll see your page at the very bottom. You want this to be a subpage under Lifestyles of the Upper Class, so you're going to have to move it. Here's how. Go to the Options menu and Manage this wiki. Then go to the Table of Contents. Here's our page at the bottom. We want it to appear right under Upper Class, so you have to move it up. Once you have the page positioned where you need it, you can then indent it to make it a subpage. Now this is a subpage under the Lifestyles of the Upper Class. In this menu of Manage this wiki, you can also change the appearance. However, don't do that for this wiki, because if you change the appearance, everyone's wiki is going to change to what you have done. So let's leave it at this plain blue for the appearance. However, from here you can also add related files. So if you find other files that you want to add to your wiki, pages that you find, perhaps an article that you find or images that you find that you want to add, you can put there. And related media. If you find a clip that you want to add of a video or some other kind of image, you can add it there. Now let's go back to the current page, and I'll show you how to add a few more things. One of the things that you'll want to have in your wiki is images. That will make the pages more interesting for your readers. To do that, click on the Options menu and edit this page, and then scroll down and find the Image tool right here. You have to follow this process to add images to the studio, because basically you're adding pages to a website. You can't just copy and paste them and hope that they're going to show up, because quite often when you do that, the link will be broken and the image will not show up. So you need to upload the images to the wiki and then place them within your wiki page. To upload a picture that you have found on the internet, click here on Upload, and then choose the file from your desktop. When the image name is showing here, send it to the server, and now it shows up in this little preview box. One thing that's important to remember is to keep this locked. That's going to make sure that the image stays locked as far as its horizontal and vertical boundaries, so that when you resize it, it won't get smushed or too long. You can change the size, experiment with the different sizes, and figure out what size you want this image to be on the page. You don't want an image to take up the whole page and then make your reader scroll down to find the text. You want the images and the words to live harmoniously next to each other. So maybe we'll make this image 300 pixels wide instead of 500. Notice how when I changed the width, because I have this locked, the height also changed at the same time. I can put a border around it by selecting a number of pixels that I want to have as a border. And then this, horizontal space and vertical space. This is how many spaces you want to appear between your picture and the words that you might have next to it. So you should always add something to the horizontal and vertical space. And last, if you want the text to be right next to the picture, you will have to set the picture to be either left justified or right justified. Let's make this one right. Now we say OK, and here's our picture. It's right justified. So any text that we add here is going to wrap itself around and next to this picture. Another element that you might want to include in your wiki draft is headers and subheaders. That's pretty easy to do by just manipulating the font. So say you want to put in a header here. Type the word you want for your header here, and then you can make the font bigger by highlighting it and then choosing size. And you can change the color as well. You can bold it, italicize it. All of these buttons here are things you can do to change the font. While we're on the topic of font, here's a tip. Write all of your text on your computer and save it in a Word file. Then copy and paste it into the wiki. Do not write directly into the wiki. There are a couple of reasons for this. First, it's much more difficult to format when everyone is writing in the wiki and formatting. You should have one person who does the formatting at the end when all of the text has been entered. But secondly, it's very easy to lose your work if you're writing straight into the wiki. If a page sits idle for too long, it will kick you out and you will lose everything. So, word to the wise, whenever you're dealing with anything on the internet, write it on your computer, save it so you have it, and then copy and paste it into that internet tool. When you copy from a Word file and paste it into the studio, choose this tool right here with a little W, paste it into there, and what will happen is the studio will strip any formatting from Word and put it in as plain text. Then one person at the end can do all the formatting. If you don't do it this way, I promise the formatting is going to become a nightmare. Another thing that you'll need to do is create links, specifically to the text that you are using, that you're summarizing from, the sources that you found. To create a link, you highlight the words that you want to have be the link, click on this little chain link, enter the link here. It's a good idea to make the target be a new window. Press OK, and now that is a link. You can also make an image be a link. You can link the image to the source where you found it, and that's the way you can cite it. Highlight the image, click on the link, and do the same thing. Now this image is a link. You can tell because of the blue border around it. Those are the basics you need for now to get your first draft up. If you have any questions, email your instructor. We'll be happy to help. Good luck as you start week 2.